Welcome back to Pixel by Pixel. Today, as part of our 7 days to launch countdown, I have with me Mark Chandler, one of the developers of Rush Brothers, which is actually coming to OUYA on launch. It's happening?
It is happening.
All right.
Launch day.
It was a big hit at E3, which you were just saying before we started that you were just recovering from, kind of, so.
Yeah, E3 stopped being fun for me when I started working in the industry about 14 years ago. Before, when I used to go to E3, it was fun because I was a gamer and I was showing up there, but now E3 is just hard work, and you know as well as I know, we get back from E3 and we just need to decompress for a couple of days or so. It's just the assault on our senses is insane. I actually used to run my own gaming convention called GamesCon, and I did that from 1997 to 2000. This is how I actually broke into the gaming industry.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm not a programmer, I'm not an artist, I don't know how to do any of those things, but back then I used to own a consulting company called LAN House, and what we were was a networking company. And I saw this LAN party that was forming here in Toronto back in 1997, and I offered my services. And next thing I know, I'm running this thing. We called that event Respawn, actually, and bizarrely enough, I used to own respawn.com as a domain name. Which
should have held on to that. Yeah.
I know. And then, from that, I decided, I really see a really great business here, for putting on LAN parties. But after doing that for a year or so, I decided, I really want to make this more of an E3 type of event. So I went and, on advice of others, I gathered an advisory board of people like John Romero and Peter Molyneux and Dave Perry and Chris Charla and Chris Taylor from Gas Powered Games and Scott Miller from 3D Realms, and basically a who's who of the industry that started me out with this. And we ended up doing our shows, and then I closed it down in 2000 because I tried to do something in San Francisco. It didn't turn out, and the next thing I know, I had all these job offers, so I moved down to the States, and I was down there for a couple of years, and then I moved out to Vancouver. Then I came back to Toronto a couple of years ago, and here's where we are now.
That's an awesome winding tale into game development.
It is.
What brought you into development itself?
I first got I got my fingers wet in development when I worked at Epic Games back in 2004, 2005.
Oh, cool.
And I ran the Make Something Unreal contest for them. I'm good friends with Mark Rain, and I've known Tim Sweeney and the rest of the group there ever since they created Unreal, because they made Unreal, relatively close here to Toronto. They actually brought a beta copy of Unreal to that very first LAN party. So I developed this relationship with Mark Rain, and we've been friends ever since. And one day when we were playing NHL whatever over Xbox Live, and I was living in Vancouver, I said, I'm in between jobs right now. And he's like, I think I got something for you. I need somebody to manage this contest, and just next thing I know, I'm working for Epic Games, running the Make Something Unreal contest. And that was really a good turning point for me in working with developers. We ended up entering the contest this time with a friend of mine, and we made this mod code called Prometheus. And then in the grand finals, we came in 4th place. And we tried to find a publisher for it, but it was such a high-level game that we weren't able really to do anything with it. And then after that, I started looking a lot more into the indie scene because I moved back down to downtown Toronto. And
what year was this now?
This was like 2 years ago or so is when I moved back down to Toronto.
And for those that don't know, Toronto has an incredible indie game development scene.
When I left, it was like one company. And when I came back here 2 years ago, I started hanging around with a friend of mine from Sony that was coming up here and starting to court all the indie developers.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to all these companies up here. And when my friend's company, Pseudo Interactive, went down, a lot of new companies sprung up from that. And the indie community is unbelievably huge in Toronto. It's just insane how large it is up here.
Yeah, and very supportive as well. And I mean, I think that's an interesting sort of through line throughout your whole story in game development, is a lot of people think that, you know, that you have these titans of the industry and that they're so inaccessible. But one of the things I love about games is that all these people are really accessible. I mean, I feel like a lot of the people that I've gotten to work with or friends that I have in the industry came from, honestly, me just really liking the games that they work on and sort of being a fan first and then just saying, wow, I really love what you make. I want to know everything about you.
I remember having a conversation once with Peter Molyneux when I had Gamescom going, and he was working on Black and White, and I was talking to him about my own insecurities in regards to putting on Gamescom and how it's very scary doing something new like this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he goes, I'm exactly the same way. He goes, I'm making Black and White right now. And he goes, it could be a huge flop. And he goes, I'm terrified of something like that happening. And then I kind of realized we're all the same. You know,
Yeah.
We're all people that love doing what we love to do. And we're all taking chances. And we're all hoping for the best also. And we're all putting it all on the line also.
So what led to Rush Brothers?
Rush Brothers was originally developed by our lead designer, Ian Boswell. And Ian had built a Portal 2 mod. Essentially, it was, the two robots, and you'd start off and you'd be on either side of a piece of glass, and what you would have to do is you'd have to run through the level as quick as possible. And whoever beat the person was able to crush the person. And it was from that, when they got to the finish line, got this idea, let's build something that's kind of a racer. And from that, we decided, let's do something music-based also, something that's going to be, affecting the levels in a certain way. And that's when we came up with the idea, we have to, let's have the traps be, affected by the music also. And let's have other elements of the game too. So that's how everything kind of came together. We routinely get compared to Super Meat Boy and Audio Surf and Beat Hazard, but we really are our own animal though.
Yeah.
Know? And we're now doing something with it's called Reverb Nation, and it's kind of this website where all the up and coming bands are going and uploading their music. And we just recently have had a contest with them, and I think it was today we just announced that out of about 1,000 submissions, we've pared that down to 10 different bands, DJs, groups that we're going to be creating specific levels for now as we move forward with the game.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time with me tonight, last minute. As I can see, it's beautiful. It looks like a beautiful night back there in summer in Toronto. It's one of my favorite times. And yeah, I'm going to put, you guys have a trailer, so I'll add that to the blog post. So for people watching this maybe on YouTube, go to OUYA.tv on our blog, to check out video footage of Rush Brothers, and stay tuned for next week, when it goes live in Discover.
All right. Awesome.
Thanks so much, Mark.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.